Good evening YouTube and welcome to episode 3 of our Citroen Dispatch micro camper build. In this episode we're going to be carpeting just the hard to do areas, i.e. pillars, around the doors, around the tops, and the rest of the van is going to be getting done in either tongue and groove or some kind of wood panelling, just for a different and a bit of a change. First job on the agenda, we're trying to sort out this lot because, as you can see, the weather has taken a drastic turn for the worst. Now, we do have the canopy, which is here. Let's have a look. But it's like 40-50 mile an hour wind today, so I don't fancy picking that up out of next door's garden. So, the plan is, because we're carpeting, we want to get in near our carpeting bench and our rolls of carpet on the wall there. So we're giving the garage area a bit of a clear out just so I can back the back of the van in so we can work in it and be dry and warm and not soggy and cold. I'll see you guys in a minute. Well, we are in, but I genuinely have no clue how that solar gland went under that door. Actually no idea, but it fitted and we're in. So we're now dry, let's get on with doing some carpeting. So in this video we are going to show you how to stretch fit carpet a van, but there are a couple of ways that you can stretch fit carpet your van, and I'm going to explain them to you now and the pros and cons of each way. So before we get going, what some people do is they like to fit the panels into the van and then they carpet over the whole thing. Alright, so you don't see any joints, no nothing, because they're one big massive piece of carpet and it goes down the full length of the van. Now we don't do it this way, and the reason being is if you want to get back in to sort anything out with your electrics or anything like that, you then have to rip all your carpet off to be able to take your panelling off, to be able to get in to look at what's gone wrong with your electrics or your plumbing or insulation or anything else where you would need to get back in behind your panels. So, sneak peek of what's coming up. This is how we do it. We add in a layer of carpet at the top and down the pillars, and then we panel the carpet and we put the carpet panel on over the top, which then fills in this silver area here, and then that means you still get a full coverage, but should you need to get back into your electrics, you can remove the panel and then you'll be left with this insulation which you can cut in, repair, replace, do what you need to do and put it back. And that is the reason that we do it this way. So let's get into showing you how we do it that way. So although we are doing tongue and groove in this area, at the end of the video I will still show you how to carpet a panel, just so if you did want to do full carpet, you can get all the information you're going to need to carpet the van out from this video. So as I explained, this is how it's going to work. What we're going to do is we're going to be carpeting along the tops here, down the pillars, and up and around, and then back down, and just all the hard to do areas. Then the rest of this is going to be covered in some sort of panelling, yet to be decided, but probably something like tongue and groove or similar wood panelling. So first things we need to do is get a tape measure and measure our areas and see what's the best way to cut this off the roll so we're not wasting loads of carpet. So when you're measuring your van out and working out in which direction and where you're going to be putting your carpet, remember that these rolls of stretch fit carpet are 2 meters. Now that is perfect for this Citroen Dispatch because the length of the van is 1.9 meters across the top, so that means one piece of carpet is going to do the full length all the way across there, and obviously it's not 2 meters high, so a piece is going to go from top to bottom. Obviously join it here, across the top, join it there, down again. So there's nothing longer than 2 meters, so that works really well for this particular van. Of course, if you're working on a van that's bigger than this, you're gonna have to have more joints in it or cover panels. There's different ways around it. Be sure to check out a video, I'll drop a link here, of how we carpeted our jumbo transit van if you are going to be doing a bigger van and just need ideas on how that's actually going to be possible. And just to make today's job even more interesting, because it's absolutely chucking it down outside, the van is slightly on a tilt backwards because it's on the drive. The rain is running along the van roof and then down. I'm having to strategically put buckets everywhere to catch rainwater because it's started flooding the garage. Great British weather. So now we've worked out that 2 meters in length is fine. We need to know how much width to take off the roll. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to prop, this is the original wood panelling, and this is going to show me roughly where the walls are going to be sitting, so I know exactly how far around this edge I need to go so I can cut the correct width off of the roll before we start sticking it up. This is also going to show us exactly where to carpet on these pillars, you know, how far around the pillar we need to go, how much overlap we need to leave over here, and again in this corner, when we're carpeting this corner, it's going to tell us exactly how much wraparound we're going to need, just so you don't put the carpet up and then put the panel up and find that you've left a gap where you needed to cover it. So not that you'll see it on camera, but I have put a small mark just there, and then we can measure from that mark up, and again you need to check how wide your roof's going to be. For us in this van it's perfect because a 4 foot wide sheet of ply fills the roof, so we can see where that comes to and where that goes to, measure between the two, add a little bit on for good measure, and then we can cut that off. We need 300mm strips, and that's going to give us enough cover to come from the roof and down and cover all that area, so the wood panelling will come up here and across here, and this hard to fix area, it's got a nice strip of carpet in the middle. So this is the effect we're going for. If you see, we've got all that corner covered, nicely tucked in and trimmed around, you know, this hard to do, this rail, it'd be really hard to get up and into that, so you get a nice trim, clean finish all the way along there. And I'm going to show you how we did that on this side. So one day I'm going to make my millions from YouTube, and I will be able to afford to hire a cameraman and give you some really cool shots, but until then you'll have to stand up on a GoPro stand and hopefully see what I'm doing. So if you haven't used stretch fit carpet before, this is contact adhesive, and it adheres to itself when it is in contact with itself. So this means you have to spray onto the van wall. We're going to just do this back half first and worry about that in a minute. So wherever you're going to be sticking the carpet, you need to make sure that you get the contact adhesive onto the van. Then you need to then spray the carpet. When you get your carpet, you're going to see there are two sides. I'll try and show you both. So that, let's see if we can do both at the same time. You can see this here is the back or the underside of the carpet, and this is the top. An easy way to explain it, it looks a bit fluffier on the back, so don't stick it up the wrong way around. So we're going to spray the carpet as well, and then to give that a few seconds to go tacky, you should just be able to stick that up then. Now, so showing you the best I can, just keep it pulled taut as you're putting it on and run it up. And stick to everywhere. So this is probably one of the most simple carpet jobs you can possibly do. Going around things such as wheel arches is a little bit more difficult. And then we're going to glue the back of the carpet again. Another thing, always try and work out where your carpet's going to land on the van, because here, as you can see, the bottom half of the carpet is not going to be in use. So I've not bothered spraying the bottom of the carpet on there, because all that's going to do is add sticky residue to all of this where we don't need it. And the less sticky residue you get on there, the better, because then of course you don't have to try and get it back off again. Again, hopefully you'll get a good view here, and we're just going to keep with our right hand over here, just keep it nice and taut as we push the carpet out and into the direction we want to send it. Pushing it out like so. Gives it a nice smooth finish. And then using our knife, we're going to run it down that line there, around. That's going to tell us exactly where that sliding door rail is, and if we push it in enough, we can cut down the back of the rail and then just trim along this front. And then once you've done that, I'm just going to do a little piece just to show you. You can then tuck again and get yourself a nice finish like so. So a close up, pushing it in. So I'm going to struggle with one hand here. Again, that cameraman one day is going to be wonderful. And then not quite in the gap, but just before it. Also trying not to scratch the paintwork. A nice sharp knife and run it down there. And then hopefully that's cut, and it hasn't because I can't do it with one hand. But you're going to cut that, I said just before. Get off. To be fair, you're better off being careful, and then you can tuck that back in and you get a nice finish. So now with both of those sections done, we're going to concentrate on the pillars. Now to do the pillars, we're going to get our tape measure and find the widest point. Now remember, you want to go slightly beyond your rubber seal, and you'll see why shortly. So about there, and then come around, and then you want to be coming in so far in to make sure, I don't know if you can see, past your rubber seal, and then in, and then you need to make sure you come round enough so that your wooden paneling covers that up. So we're going to go 400mm wide on this section. Doing a full strip off of our 2 meters is a little bit overkill, but we might as well because it is over 1 meter, so it's not like you can cut it in half and get one for each door. So we're going to cut the 2 meters off. We might find a job for the excess, but we might not as well. So this is why we want it to be slightly past that seal. What we're going to do is completely take it off. And then we're going to fit the carpet up to it and then trim straight up it and put the seal back on. And again, that gives you a beautiful crisp edge then to your carpet. So the same rules apply. We're just going to do the bottom half to start with. We're going to work up on this because we're going to be cutting it into the piece we've already done up there. So we're going to start at the bottom. We're going to cover all this in glue and then cover the bottom half of our carpet in glue and start working our way up. Start here and stick so we know we're definitely beyond there, and then again pulling tight, work our way up and also around. Remember, this is 4-way stretch carpet. So as you can see, this crease here, you can see that. We can get rid of that crease by pulling in this direction or this direction. You know, whichever direction you want to pull in, it will pull that crease out. Okay. Work our way around, again just pulling all these creases out and around there. And again, we now know that our wood panelling is going to come to here, and that is all going to be covered now. All that corner is going to be covered by the carpet. So follow that up until you get to the very top. With all this stuck on, I'm going to take a nice sharp blade. People will always say how hard this stuff is to cut. If it's hard to cut, you're not using a sharp enough blade. This thing, as soon as you lose any of the sharpness on this blade, it's useless and won't cut. So you will go through a lot of blades doing this. But just cut in and find the edge of the door down there, just slice down. And then be careful as you're putting it back on. Make sure it doesn't push in too much. Just push your rubber back on like so. So again, give you a lovely finish. Now, if your van has things such as vents on here, they do have those for a reason. A very important reason on this van is because that is how you access your lights. So if we weren't to put this back in, we wouldn't be able to get in to change our light bulbs. Again, we have a 12-volt socket on this side, but that is actually a secondary use. The main reason is to be able to pop that off and change your lights. So that needs to go back in. So we need to cut a hole back into the carpet there and make sure that's back in there. Time for joining these two pieces together. Now there's two ways to do a joint in this carpet. Number one, you can lay one over the other. I'm going to do this roughly because this is not the way I'm going to do it. And then making sure you go through both layers of carpet, you cut, and then you would remove this section and the inner section, and obviously because you've cut through both layers at the same time, both should drop together nicely. With domestic carpets on a floor, that is exactly how I would normally do it, but in a van I find there's too much movement and too many obscure corners to try and get round, and I really struggle to get a crisp, clean finish in that way, especially if the glue's not stuck very tightly. It could move. There's lots of parameters. So what I like to do is cut it very close with a pair of scissors or a knife, like very close, and then butt the two together. So I'm going to try my best to show you what I'm doing. So at the minute I'm literally just cutting excess off, so you don't need to be too close. You want to trim all your excess off. I should be able to show you better that other method as well now. So what you would do if you was doing the other method is lay, see how that's completely overlapping, and then you would run your knife down the middle of the two. So that means it would cut this piece off, but it would also cut a piece of this off, and then where that cut line and that cut line is, they should line up perfectly. However, so what we're going to do now is cut even closer than that. Okay, I'm going to try my best. So basically I've cut that, you see that's still slightly overlapping. I've made sure there's glue on there. I'm going to pull it back a little bit and then just butt it up and butt it up, butt it up. This is hard with one hand. And there you go. So just butt it up. There's a little bit of glue on there where I've oversprayed. I do have a great video for removing glue, so... And there you go. Obviously in here, that's just overlapping. I can tidy that up a bit more if I want, but that wood panel does go there. But I'll tidy it up anyway, just in case a little bit of it's showing. And again, here, so this is all going to get chopped off again because we're going to join again to go across here. So I'm not worried too much about this bit, as long as this section here looks as good as it can. Which, with a little brush, that is going to look bob on. So the next job is this bit here. Now you're going to have to take this off, and then you'll see in the last video we struggled to get it back in after the insulation, because obviously you put your insulation, and this time we're going to put the carpet over it, and then you've got to try and find a little hole and stab it back through, and it's an absolute pain in the backside. But try and remember where it goes, maybe mark it on the outside or something to try and line it up best you can, but you do need to take that off for a good job. And then we're just going to do the same method as we did on the sides, across there, fasten that back on, and then that's that back section done. So that's that bit finished now, up and over the top, and we've got a tricky clasp back on there. So that's coming right up all the way around and over the top. Now we've got another piece to put up here. So again, this is just right at the front where the cab meets the back of the van. Then after that we need to do the pillars. I'm hoping the rain is going to stop, because we need to pull the van back out to be able to open these, to be able to trim these doors in. We can't do that in the rain. So we're going to get this bit done next. So we've got that final piece up there. Again, just making sure that's nice and tidily trimmed. And then there's these pillars. Now the rain is still not letting up. So the only thing that I need to do on this pillar now is, you can see I've got a nice shape there, is open that door, pull the seal off and trim it into the seal like I've already shown you. From there you can see we've got all of this done, and this is where we're going to be putting our panel. Like I've already said before, I am not carpeting the panels. However, just so you've got a full insight into doing the whole carpeting, should you wish to, we are going to carpet this bottom of this door, purely because it's going behind the kitchen. So wasting money on tongue and groove for something that's going to be hidden behind a kitchen is just silly. So just for your benefit, so you can see the whole process, should you wish to carpet these panels and add them in, then we're going to do that. Then we're going to do that with the door panel now over at the bench. So we're going to roll the carpet out. If you remember, I mentioned earlier about making sure your carpet is the right way up. So when I roll carpet up onto a roll, I always roll it so that underside is facing out, so then if it gets dirty, it doesn't matter. So that means when I roll it out, this is the side that you see. So when we put the board on, this also works better because this is the board face, the side that you're going to see. That is the side you're going to see. So when you cut that shape out there, it's going to lay straight back on top of the board. So first things first is lay your board out, and you want to leave a good inch or so around the outside. You can see that. Then cut around. Then cover both of these in spray adhesive. Then simply flip this onto there. Then what I like to do is flip it over first before we start messing about. Just make sure it's all pushed out and nice and flat. And then flip it back. And then we're going to spray it again all the way around the outside. And then it's simply just a case of peeling over and sticking down. Now when you get to a corner, what I do is I start from there again and I push there. And then when it's not a right angle, I'd probably do another one in the middle. So pull that in tight like that, and that's going to give you like a pelmet there and one there. Very simple. Get your scissors, hold them tight flat and cut, and that will lay down flat. So again, I'll show you again there. Scissors, lay down flat and cut. Lay down perfectly flat. Continue working your way around. Again, this is a 90-degree corner, so it's even easier still. We're gonna just pull it in tight. And you can also do this one where you pull it in like that. If you're not using scissors, you cut. Again, pull in nice and flat. Then if you need to do an internal corner, again, you can pull in tight, but sometimes you can get it and just pull it nice and tight like that. On this case you can, but I'm going to show you just in case it's too tight of a corner. If you just put a slit into it, it just helps it come around the corner like that. Obviously the underside doesn't matter. On a radius like that I would have got it as I did there, but just show you for if you need, so you can put a slit in there and that just helps you get it around the corner there. And there you have it, one carpeted panel, absolutely brand fire new. Reusing the old panel that was on the van. As I say, that's going to go on the side loading door and just give you a nice finish on there. And you can use that method to do every panel in the van. And that is a wrap. All these tricky to do areas trimmed with carpet, nice and easy. Obviously at the minute it looks a bit crude because we've got random bits of carpet just stopping, but once we start putting this paneling up in future episodes, it's going to look really nice and really crisp, and all those edges are just going to, it's just going to bring everything together to give you a much cleaner, crisp finish. If you've enjoyed that video, then please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. A thumbs up on the video would be a massive help for the channel. If you've got any questions whatsoever, please don't hesitate and drop them in the comment section and I will get back and answer those for you. Don't forget, we release campervan related content every Tuesday at 8 PM and go live for Lee's Live Lounge, which is a general whiffle waffle chat of what we've all been up to that week, and that is Thursday at 8 PM. But until then, if in doubt, get the Sikaflex out and we'll see you next Tuesday.